If you won't pay for my ticket, I'll just ask my ex. He never said no to me. I swear my heart stopped when those words left her mouth. I just stood there, staring at her, wondering if I even heard her right. The girl I thought I knew, the one I trusted with everything, was smiling at me like she had just won some kind of sick game. I wanted to believe she was joking, but the look in her eyes told me she wasn't. She meant it. That moment changed everything. We had been together for almost 3 years. At first, everything felt perfect. She was sweet, funny, and acted like I was the center of her world. The kind of girl who would text me good morning before I even woke up, who remembered the smallest things about me, who said she couldn't imagine life without me. I fell hard. And I fell fast. The first year was golden. We did everything together. Late-night drives, movie marathons, stupid little inside jokes that only we understood. She always told me she felt safe with me, like she didn't need anyone else. And I believed her. I thought we had something rare. But then the little changes started. At first, they were easy to brush off. She stopped laughing at my jokes as much. She started spending more time glued to her phone. If I asked who she was talking to, she would just roll her eyes and say, "Relax, it's just friends." I wanted to believe her. The second year was different. She still said she loved me, but sometimes it felt more like routine than truth. She'd get moody over the smallest things. If I couldn't take her out somewhere expensive, she'd sulk. If I said no to something, she'd act like I was holding her back. It wasn't the same girl who once told me she'd be happy just sitting on the couch with me, eating takeout. And then came the comparisons. Out of nowhere, she started bringing up her ex. At first, it was subtle, mentioning things he used to do or, "Oh, he used to take me to this restaurant." I told myself not to overthink it. People have a past, right? But then she said things like, "He always knew how to surprise me." Or, "He never made me pay for anything." That one stung the most. I tried to ignore it. I thought if I just showed her how much I cared, if I worked harder, she'd see that I was different. That I was better. But it didn't stop. By the time we hit year 3, she had become someone else entirely. Her patience was gone. Her sweetness was gone. It was like the person I fell in love with had been swapped for someone colder, more demanding, more selfish. And yet, I stayed. Why? Because I kept telling myself that maybe she was just stressed. Maybe it was a phase. Maybe the girl I fell in love with was still in there somewhere. But then came the concert. She was obsessed with this band. They were coming to town, and she had been talking about it for months. I told her money was tight for me right then, but I tried to make it work. She didn't want to wait. She wanted the ticket immediately. When I hesitated, when I told her I couldn't afford it just yet, that's when she looked me straight in the eyes and said the words that knocked the wind out of me. "If you won't pay for my ticket, I'll just ask my ex." He never said no to me. That was the moment I realized the girl I thought I knew was gone. After she said that line about her ex, I couldn't get it out of my head. It felt like something cracked inside me. For a while, I tried to shake it off, but once you start noticing red flags, it's like they multiply overnight. The first thing I picked up on was her phone. She used to leave it everywhere, on the couch, on the kitchen counter, even in the bathroom. She never cared if I saw her notifications. But now, she kept it glued to her hand. If she got a text, she would angle the screen away from me. If I walked into the room while she was scrolling, she'd lock it instantly, almost like a reflex. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. That maybe I was being paranoid. But then the late-night giggles started. She'd lie in bed next to me, the room dark, her face lit up by her screen, quietly laughing at something. When I asked what was so funny, she'd snap, "It's nothing. Just a meme." And she'd roll over, hiding the phone under her pillow. My stomach would knot up every single time. Then came the new friends. She suddenly had plans without me. Girls' nights that didn't include anyone I'd ever heard of. She'd dress up like she was going to a fancy dinner, even though she said it was Just drinks. And when I asked if I could meet them, she got defensive. Why do you have to be so controlling? She chewed back. Controlling. That word cut me. I never tried to stop her from going out. I just wanted to know who she was spending all this time with. The distance between us grew wider. Conversations that used to last for hours turned into short replies, or worse, silence. If I tried to talk about my day, she'd scroll through her phone, barely listening. If I asked about hers, she'd shrug me off with, "Nothing special." It was like living with a stranger. But the worst part wasn't even the behavior. It was how it made me feel. I started doubting myself. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in my head. Was I overreacting? Was I imagining things? Maybe she was just stressed, like I always told myself. Maybe I was the problem. The anxiety ate at me. My chest felt heavy all the time. I stopped enjoying the things I used to. Every time her phone buzzed, I felt this sharp twist in my stomach. Was it him? Was she laughing with her ex while I was sitting right there, pretending not to notice? There were little slip-ups too. Once, she came home smelling like cologne that definitely wasn't mine. Another time, she called me by his name. She laughed it off, saying it was an accident, but I saw the flicker of guilt in her eyes. And then the spending. She suddenly had new clothes, new makeup, things I knew she couldn't afford on her own. When I asked, she brushed it off with, "I used my savings." But I knew her savings were gone months ago. All of it piled up until I couldn't ignore it anymore. I didn't want to believe she was slipping away from me, but every instinct screamed that she was. And the concert ticket fight? That wasn't just a fight. It was her way of telling me exactly where I stood. I couldn't live in that limbo anymore. The late nights, the secretive phone, the way she tossed her ex's name around like a weapon, it was eating me alive. I told myself if I was wrong, then I'd finally have peace. But if I was right, at least I'd know the truth. The first crack came one night when she left her phone charging in the kitchen while she took a shower. It buzzed. I sat on the couch staring at it, my heart pounding in my ears. I knew I shouldn't touch it. I hated the thought of snooping. But that buzzing, it was like it was calling me. When I picked it up, the screen lit up with a notification, a message preview. It wasn't from a girlfriend. It wasn't from family. It was from a guy's name I didn't recognize. The words froze me. "Can't wait to see you again." Same place? My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. I didn't open the full chat. I dropped the phone like it burned me. She came out of the shower, humming, hair wet, acting like nothing was wrong. I sat there pretending to scroll my own phone, my pulse racing so fast I thought she'd hear it. That was the moment I knew. I didn't have proof, but I didn't need it. Something was going on. The next few days I played it cool. I didn't confront her right away. I needed more. I watched her patterns. The girls' nights always landed on the same days. She dressed up more than she ever did for me. And she always came back late, claiming they just lost track of time. So I made a choice. One Friday night she said she was heading out with her friends again. I hugged her goodbye, smiled, acted normal. But the second her car left the driveway, I followed. My hands were shaking on the wheel, my stomach in knots. I felt like I was betraying myself, but I couldn't turn back. She didn't drive toward the downtown bar district where she always claimed she was going. She drove across town, to a quiet neighborhood. My heart sank as I watched her park in front of a small house. And then I saw him. A guy walked out, and she practically ran into his arms. Not just a hug. Not a friendly embrace. She kissed him. Right there in the driveway, like I didn't even exist. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Tears blurred my vision. My chest felt like it was splitting open. I wanted to scream, to storm out, to demand answers. But I just sat there in shock, watching the girl I thought I loved melt into someone else's arms. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I drove home and sat in the dark for hours, replaying it in my head, breaking apart inside. The next morning, though, I couldn't hold it in. When she came home, still smelling like his cologne, I finally snapped. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I know where you were. I saw you." Her smile faltered. Her face went pale. And in that instant, the truth I had been dreading was written all over her. The second those words left my mouth, "I know where you were. I saw you." Her whole face changed. First, denial. Her eyes darted, her lips parted like she was scrambling for a lie. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice shaky. I didn't blink. "Don't play dumb. I followed you. I saw you kiss him in his driveway." Her jaw clenched. She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. Finally, she just exhaled sharply and looked away, like a kid caught stealing. That silence was worse than any excuse. My chest burned, but my voice came out steady. "After everything I gave you. After 3 years of my life. That's what I meant to you." She snapped then, turning it back on me. "Well, maybe if you weren't so boring, maybe if you gave me what I wanted, I wouldn't have to go anywhere else." Her words cut deep, but instead of breaking me, they hardened me. I felt something inside me shift. That desperate need to hold on to her, the way I kept hoping she'd change, it evaporated in that moment. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how pathetic it all sounded. "So that's your excuse? I wouldn't buy you a concert ticket, so you run back to your ex? That's who you are." Her eyes filled with tears. Real or fake, I didn't care anymore. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered. "It just happened." I was confused. I shook my head. "No. Cheating doesn't just happen. You made a choice. You made it when you texted him. You made it when you drove to his house. You made it when you kissed him. Don't stand there and tell me it was an accident." She stepped closer, reaching for my hand, but I pulled back. "Please don't do this. Don't throw us away. We can work through this." That was the moment I finally saw her clearly. Not the girl I fell in love with, not the one who used to make me feel like I was everything. No, I saw the selfish, manipulative version she had become. The one who thought I would always forgive her. The one who thought she could betray me and still come home to my arms. I looked her dead in the eyes and said the one thing I knew she never expected. "I'm not your second choice. I'd rather be alone than be your backup plan." Her face crumpled. She started crying, full-on sobbing, begging me to reconsider. But I was done. I told her to pack her things. She tried stalling, saying she had nowhere to go, but I didn't budge. As she stuffed clothes into a bag, she kept muttering, "You'll regret this. You'll miss me. No one else will love you like I do." I stood by the door, arms crossed, heart pounding but steady. When she finally walked out, I tossed one last line over my shoulder. "Good luck asking your ex to pay your rent too." The door slammed behind her, and with it, the weight I had been carrying for months finally lifted. For the first time in a long time, I could breathe. After she left, the silence in my apartment felt heavier than anything I'd ever experienced. At first, it crushed me. I sat on the couch, staring at the empty space where her shoes used to sit, where her laugh used to echo. 3 years of memories pressed against me all at once, and I honestly thought I'd break under it. But as the hours passed, something else took over. Relief. It was like walking out of a storm and realizing the sun was still there. For so long, I had been convincing myself to hold on, excusing the red flags, drowning in my own denial. I told myself love meant patience, sacrifice, forgiveness. But real love isn't supposed to make you feel small. It isn't supposed to make you question your worth every single day. She taught me that lesson the hard way. Looking back, I see the moments I should have walked away. The first time she compared me to her ex. The first time she rolled her eyes when I tried to open up. The first time she made me feel like I wasn't enough. Each of those was a warning, but I kept choosing to believe in the version of her I fell for, not the version she had become. And that's what kept me stuck. Hope. I thought love could fix everything, that if I just gave more, sacrificed more, loved harder, she'd see my value. But the truth is, no amount of love can change someone who doesn't respect you. I realized I had been scared of losing her, but the person I loved was already gone. I was holding on to a memory, not the reality standing in front of me. It hurt, yes. It still does. Some nights I replay those words in my head, the way she said, "I'll just ask my ex." It burns, but it also reminds me of the line I finally drew. The moment I stood up for myself. And if I'm honest, I'm proud of that. Because I didn't crumble. I didn't beg. I didn't let her keep treating me like an option. I chose myself. And that's something I'll never regret. Would I do things differently if I could go back? Absolutely. I'd trust my instincts sooner. I'd walk away the first time she made me feel like second best. I'd remind myself that loyalty isn't a weakness, but clinging to someone who doesn't deserve it is. What I know now is simple. Love isn't proven by how much pain you can endure. It's proven by respect, honesty, and the way two people protect each other's hearts. If one person is tearing it apart while the other is patching it up, that's not love, it's self-destruction. So yes, she betrayed me. Yes, she left scars. But she also gave me clarity. The next time I fall in love, I won't settle for being tolerated. I'll wait for someone who chooses me every single day, without hesitation, without threats, without comparisons. And when that day comes, I'll know what I didn't back then. Losing someone who doesn't value you isn't really a loss. It's freedom.